This 3-button Mega Drive controller is certainly showing its age. It needs a bit of a clean, but cosmetically it's not in too bad a condition. The same can't be said though for the membranes which sit below the buttons. These membranes are the thing that the buttons press down, which then make contact with the circuit board to register that the button's been pressed. So if they're missing or in poor condition, you'll find that button presses will stop registering correctly. While replacement membranes are widely available for most game consoles and controllers, for some reason the Sega Mega Drive controller is one for which you simply can't seem to find replacement membranes. And even on the odd occasion you do find them, they don't actually match the originals, and it's quite likely they're not actually going to function particularly well. After a bit of experimenting, I've managed to find a method which seems to do a pretty decent job of replacing those membranes. And that's what I'm going to be doing to this controller and showing you how to do in this video. It's really easy to get these controllers open as they're only held together with 6 Phillips head screws. These old controllers are really simple and easy to work with because there's just not a lot going on inside. The PCB can be lifted up out of the housing. Just take care while doing this that you don't put too much strain on the cable, as you don't want to rip any of the wires. For this controller, one of the button membranes has already been removed, and I've got another one which has a split through it. And this one I'm holding here is the one that's got the split through it. While it's working for now, the button presses feel very soft, and realistically it's probably not going to last much longer anyway. If I put this new membrane side by side with an old one, you can see quite clearly that the Game Gear membrane is much smaller. It not only has a smaller diameter, but it's also thinner. And really, it's the thickness which is going to dictate how the button feels when you're pressing it. In order to make this button thicker, you can sacrifice part of the membrane, which is designed to replace the one on the D-pad. This part will be no use in a Mega Drive controller anyway. You want to cut out one of the button membranes so you're left with something that looks like this. And don't forget as well to trim off the black contact pad from underneath. If you stack this on top of one of the loose button membranes, you'll see that it's somewhere close to the thickness of the original. I do need a second one of these, so I'll just show you now a bit more of how I cut it out. To begin with, you'll need to roughly cut somewhere near the bottom of the membrane. Once it's completely free, you'll then want to go back around it, trimming off the outer edge. It should end up looking something like this. The last thing to do is to cut off the black contact pad. Try and make sure that you're only cutting through the contact pad and that you make the cut as smooth as you can, as this will be the side that's making contact with the other membrane. Once you're happy with how it's cut, you can glue this part onto the top of one of the button membranes. Take care not to use too much glue and make sure to mop any up that comes out over the side. While the thickness is about right, the new membrane clearly has a much smaller diameter than the original. So you want to take extra care when reassembling the controller to try and keep these membranes in the centre. Once you've got everything back together, the pressure on the membrane should help to keep it in place. Though if you do have any issues with button presses in the future, you might need to open it up and just check the position of the membrane. Well, you can see here that as I've just tilted this controller, the small membranes have moved slightly from where I originally positioned them, while the original membranes haven't moved at all. I'm going to get this controller put back together now so that we can see the final result. Now that the controller is fully reassembled, we can test the buttons out and see how they feel. You can see from how the buttons are sitting and from the noise they make when I'm pressing them that actually they are very similar. And in terms of feel, they absolutely feel similar to the originals. I think if I gave someone this controller, you wouldn't really be able to tell that there is anything different. And really, that was ultimately the goal of this modification, to allow you to repair Mega Drive controllers, despite the fact that proper replacement membranes are not available. In terms of how durable this is, well, I can't really say, because while I did complete this a few months back and I have used the controller since, it's really only going to be in the long term that we'll know just how well this will hold up. While it's not really ideal because of the smaller diameter of the membranes, out of a few different things that I've tried, this turned out to be the most effective. If you've got a controller and you need to fix it, it's certainly worth giving this a go. So hopefully, until proper replacement membranes were available, some of you might find this useful in getting your controller back up and running again. I hope you like this video. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to stick around for the next one.